Hey, what's going on, everyone? Drill Solis coming back to you from Confidence Pest Control, and I just want to say thank you so much for hitting that play button. I try to let you guys know how much it means to me when you hit that subscribe, that like, or that comment button. It means everything, and so from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for everything, and hopefully y'all continue to find the value. It's just been busy, but I'm going to continue to make these videos. Don't worry. And continue to drop those comments. Continue to let me know some topics that you guys want to talk about, and I'll do everything that I can to get that, in some of these videos so that y'all can hear about it. But with that being said, today's video is it's kind of a two-part. I know the audience that I have kind of, as far as a lot of you guys are just like me, as far as uh, brand new pest control owners or getting ready to be pest control owners, on that journey, whatever the case may be. Is I get it. I know for the most part, kind of who's watching these videos. But I wanted to kind of give you my path to pest control, and then three reasons why I love the path that I've taken to pest control, and three reasons why, um, you know, pest control is a passion. The industry, pest control is something that I've really come to love, and I'm going to give you my three reasons why. But with that all being said, I'm going to jump right into it. And like I said, I was going to talk about my path to pest control, and I'm not going to go back, too far. Um, but I'll go back to about high school. Excuse me. Um, Normal small town Texas kid, I mean, a very small town. Um, uh, I grew up playing sports, all the sports, baseball, basketball, soccer, football, boxing, all that stuff. Not very good at any of them, but I played them throughout my life. So I was always competitive, like I say in the other videos, I talk about preparation and things like that. I've always been competitive. I like to be, I like to be number one. That's just kind of the personality I have. Uh, and so, yeah, in high school, and I come from, our football team was a pretty good football team at once upon a time. Um, and so I always, we have, me and all my friends and all my football buddies, growing up, it's like, hey, in high school, you have this pursuit of excellence and just being the best and being the top dog. And our coaches really drilled that into me early on, middle school and high school. And that would kind of just, I mean, when I believe that's who I was, and then I just repetitive, and then um, right after high school, I enlisted into the Marine Corps while I was in high school, that summer to my senior year. Again, if you're gonna be in the, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna be the number one. And the Marine Corps, I always knew I wanted to do the military. And for just one, I think I had one conversation with a recruiter in the National Guard, and that was only just because of the location. I wanted to be in Austin, but I had talked to him for like 30 seconds, and then yeah, Marine Corps baby, USMC. Um, number one again. They're the top dogs, and that's who I wanted to be. So I joined the Marine Corps. Always knew that I didn't want to make a career out of it, but I did want to go serve my country, do my thing, go to Iraq and fight the bad guys. That's what, kind of how I wanted to do it. I set those goals, and I did exactly just that. Um, I got out of the military, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. I mean, it had its ups and its downs, but I took a lot of the good away, and it is what everything's what you make of it. Um, But yeah, it was a really good time, really great experience. And then I got out, worked in the oil field for a little bit. I had a CDL, and I was a driver in the oil field for a little bit. Worked for like the city of Round Rock where we lived at. I did a few things, and then like everybody, I realized that I wanted what my true passion was killing bugs. Um, and I know you laugh because the running joke in pest control is how it kind of just fell into our lap, and I had just got let go of a job. Me and the boss man did not. I did not like him. Just stop myself right there, and it just didn't work out. And so I left there, but I needed a job, and so I had a family member who was already working for the company. Um, he said, "Hey, we have an open route. Do you want to talk to my boss?" And I really didn't want to. I was still pretty young and arrogant, and this was 10 years ago, and I was still pretty fresh out of the Marine Corps, only a few years, and I just thought I was above it. I didn't really want to do it, but I said, I do need to work, and school was really never an option. Never ever wanted to do school. Um, so I said, all right, I do need to work. So it was an over the phone interview. Shout out to Damien. Um, we talked on Friday evening. On Monday, I did a ride along. On Tuesday, I started training, and then by like that next Monday, I was in a truck and running around. Might have been longer. I'm sure Damien did everything the right way, but that's how it felt at least. Um, I was in. It was all right. I enjoyed the freedom of it, but again, I just thought pest control wasn't all that. I just thought I was above pest control. It's not a very sexy industry, and so I go from being in the Marines, and then even the oil field where it might not be sexy. Money sure is, and then I go to killing bugs and being a bug guy, and the connotation that's always kind of carried, and so. I just wasn't too proud, but I did for the most part enjoy what I did. It was purchased out. The company I was with was bought out by another pretty large company, and I was there for a little while. And again, mind you, even being there, I was still. I know when the other company took over and they kind of did the technician of the year and stuff like that. Like they flew me to Orlando, my wife and I, because even though I didn't really enjoy what I was doing, I still wanted to be good at it, and so I was still the top dog. I was the technician of the year that first year, and when they bought us out, and so I still gave it my everything. Sorry, my socks messed up, but yeah, management. I mean, it just wasn't there. I just didn't really enjoy what I was doing. I had another opportunity, so I left, and then COVID happened, and where I was at, that was completely ruined by COVID, and so I waited for that to try to come back. Excuse me, but life happens, and it didn't. So I tried to figure out what I wanted to do, and one day I saw uh, a truck. I knew it was pest control, but it was the company that I initially started with 10 years ago, and I kind of just knew right then and there. I said, you know what, that's something I always enjoyed. It's the same, but it's different. As far as yes, it is repetitive, and you're gonna inspect the home, deweb the home, spray, granulate, things like that. But each home is different, and each home has its own issues, and so um, and then I've always loved the people aspect, just getting to meet new people. So I really enjoyed that. I was like, well, hopefully they have new management, and regardless, I can suck it up and deal with it. And I was at a point too where I said, I need. I can't do jumping around. I had initially planned on staying with the company that I was with prior to COVID, for 20, 30 years. But like I said, when COVID happened, so I knew that I had to do something and wanted to do something that I was going to be doing for, again, the next 20, 30 years, work my way up. That's what I wanted to do is, get in with I'll be honest. So it was called Omni Shield, Eco Shield, but they had, the name was Omni Shield a couple years ago. I wanted to get back in, get my license, get quickly work my way up, and I knew I could do all that, and then kind of work my way up the corporate ladder or the management ladder at least, and get to a spot where I'm making decent money, having a good life, and and all that good stuff. But I talk about reading and podcasts and all that, and I read a book. Um, I'll think of the name later on. And I realized that the life that I wanted wasn't going to be got through being an employee, a technician, and maybe sales could have done it, but the life that I wanted wasn't going to be as an employee. And so I can remember the day, it was May 6th of 2022. I kind of, the epiphany, just kind of happened. Um, I was doing the service, and I knew that I could do the service. I knew that I could talk to the customer, all that. And then it just hit me. I can do this for a living. I could start my own company. And, that seed just, it took hold. And so for all of you who are watching, and if you haven't read, I highly, highly recommend reading, the E-Myth Revisited. Um, who wrote that book? Give me 1 second, and I'll look it up. But it's called The E-Myth Revisited, and it is an entrepreneurial startup kind of book. I mean, it is just it's it's a must read, must listen to for any entrepreneur. Yeah, I listen to it a couple times a year for the past couple years, and it's a really, really, really great book. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to find it for y'all because I do want y'all to listen to it. But that's what happened. I started. I got that little seed of I can start my own pest control company, and then from that moment on, that's all I could talk about. As my wife. I'm sure she got burnt out real quick. Where is I'm scrolling through Audible, and just real, side note, I definitely recommend you guys listen to Audible or download Audible. Subscribe. It's like $15 a month. You get one book a month, but then they also have the Audible Plus catalog, and you can go in there, and the benefit of what we do, as far as we're driving in the truck in windshield time, and then we speak with the customer, but other than that, we're doing the service for technicians, and so put some AirPods in and listen to some podcasts and listen to some audiobooks. All it's going to do is just going to help you just learn so much, and you're gonna just it's going to set yourself up for success. That's all it's going to do. And and you can just, I mean, there's so many different free books. And the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, read that one. That's a really, really good one. um I cannot find it, but in my Audible, and I'm not trying to. There's, I think, make 300 books that I've listened to over the past few years. So I can't find it, but start with why is the very first thing you need to do. Read that book. You'll be able to relate to it. Trust me. But again, I knew that I was going to start, and like I've talked about in the past, have a plan. I knew that I was going to start my own company, and I said I'm going to give it a year from now. From May 6th, I'm going to start in April of 2024, or of 2023, I'm sorry. And so for the next year, that's what I did. I moved into a sales role so that I could do inspections. I started getting decent at sales with termite sales, exclusion, um, even insulation up in the attic. That's what I did. I knew that I was going to be doing it, so I went ahead and got ahead of the curve, started working on that craft of sales, and just reading everything that I could, listening to everything I could, and just so I could get prepared. And Yeah, I mean, I know I'm kind of all over the place, and I do apologize for that. It's early in the morning, but for you, those of you who have stuck around for this far, um, but when I realized that I wanted to do pest control on that day on May the 6th, I knew I could do it, and I knew that I wanted to become my own boss and start my own business. And I thought it didn't take me long at all. I thought, what can I do that's my own business? And again, I was spraying. I was like, I can do this. And the three reasons why I chose this, went with this, and am currently doing this are as follows. And so um, I'm pulling out my phone to get my notes because I did type some of this stuff out. But uh, I knew I wanted to live a life where I don't need to be filthy, filthy rich, but there's a certain lifestyle I want to live. My wife and I, we like to vacation. We like to take our kids on vacation, and so I knew that you know I needed to do that. I needed to make some money. I know pest control one. The very first reason is there is a lot of potential, and it can be very, very, very lucrative. As I said in the past, I have one friend who has he's a solo operator. I mean, as a solo operator, you can easily make 150, 200, maybe even 250,000 a year, and your truck's paid off. All you're paying for is your product that you're using. Your equipment, all that is paid off. You don't have any. All your bills are good to go, and you can just pocket that money, and you have a really, really good life. Your wife and kids have a really good life. I mean, that's a solid lifestyle. Say you're making $175,000 a year, and and it's just no headache of employees or anything like that. So, um, if that's something you want, if you want to get employees, also very, very lucrative. There's high profit margins in pest control, and there's just a lot of money, even though it's not sexy. Um, it is very, very, very profitable. And one of the reasons it's for reason number two is it's recession resistance. Recession proof is a hard word to say, but recession resistance, or recession resistant. Bugs are always going to be around. Rodents are always going to be around. People are always going to need to get rid of their bed bugs and their fleas, their termites. They're always going to be scared of scorpions and spiders. So, we saw it in COVID as everybody lost their job and everybody got home. Everybody in pest control was having a really, really, really great year because everybody's home and then they're starting to realize all these pests are crawling around there. Hey, man, usually if they're gone, Monday through Friday and they're gone 8 hours a day, they might not notice those things that they're seeing around their house now. And now they're seeing some spiders crawl around. They're seeing, all that stuff. And so, everybody and a lot of people during COVID had a great year for pest control. And so when the bubble, the housing market goes up and goes down, and things will fluctuate. But pest control is one of those things that people are always going to need. So, it's very, very recession resistant, and that's really the second reason why I wanted. Well, that and this is it's a two part, and it's recurring revenue. And just think about that for a moment, because I've got a cousin, for example, who we're Mexican. He has a concrete business, right? And he does great. He does really, really well. Shout out Justin, and he does great. But his work is big time paying jobs, and that's wonderful. There's different types of business and different types of different types of businesses, and to way to do that. For you to do them. His is concrete. It's big jobs that pay, big ticket items, and but it's a one-time thing. Um, there's all kinds of electricians, home services, but it's to go out there and fix it, and then you're really done. You really don't have recurring services with an electrician or maybe a plumber as well. I mean, you might have HVAC that might put you on a program where they like check it or something, your AC units and stuff like that. But lawn care, they try to get you on recurring services, and pest control is recurring services. And that's what I love about that too. You know, it's not just a one off. It's not, you're not just making, you know, $99 for a pest control job and then yeah, and then that customer, you never hear from them again. You know, you make that $99. Say you have a quarterly. Say you make that $99 today, and then every other month or every 3 months, quarterly, whatever the case is for you, you make that $99 again. And so that's $400 or $500 a year that you're making from that customer. Take care of them, you'll have them for a long time, and that's a lot of revenue. On average, it's I've said it before. On average, it's what, maybe $5,000 contract value, or a customer's worth about $5,000 on average. So you know, recurring revenue and have a lot of customers doing that. That's pretty cool. So that's what I love about it. Recession resistant and recurring services, not just those one offs, but recurring services, which is really really awesome. And then the third, the third reason I was like, this is why I'll do this job right here and why I'll stick with the industry, is because of the low barrier to entry. You don't need a whole lot. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to downplay what we do and who we are, because at the end of the day, we really are professionals and we need to hold ourselves to that standard. But we're fortunate enough to not to have to go to get our multiple degrees and to be able to do what we do. We do have to study. We have to get our licensing, and depending on what state you're in, that will dictate what licenses you have to have and all that. But for me in Texas, for example, get your certified applicator's license and whatever jobs you're going to be doing, pest and termite, and then register your LLC. Um, register with the Secretary of State and the Department of Agriculture. A few things that you got to do one times, and boom, I'm ready to go. I mean, you can really honestly, if you had a truck, but depending on where you're at and what you have, but the barrier to entry is very very low, and so you can easily get into pest control. And even with your equipment, get you a backpack, a deweber, and a bulb duster granulator. You spend maybe what, $400, $500 on equipment, and you're ready to rock and roll. I mean, it's gonna make you plenty of money back. Um, so yeah, I really love pest control and I love the industry because it is very open. It's not what it was, 20, 30 years. You talk to some of the old timers and you hear the stories how they were very proprietary, kept everything close to the chest. Whereas nowadays, you're watching videos, and we like to share very open, the industry. We're all trying to help each other, because at the end of the day, there's plenty of room for us all to eat, no matter where you're at. I'm sure that hopefully, there's plenty of room for all of us to eat, so we can all appreciate it and respect each other, be willing to share and be open with each other like that. And like I said, or like the saying says, a rising tide raises all ships. So, the better we all do for the industry, the better we all do for the industry, and the better the industry does for us. Um, but yeah, that's sorry. I know I can be long winded, but that's really my path into pest control, and then the three reasons why I chose to pest control, and why it's a great reason for you to choose pest control, because again, um, it's a low barrier to entry. You don't really need much. It's very inexpensive to get into the business, and so that's pretty easy. That's the first one. The second one is it's recession resistant, and it's recurring services. So it's just um, if something happens with the economy, pest control is always going to be needed. We might need to lower those prices, but we're still going to be needed. People are always going to need us no matter what. And then third, what was the third one? Oh, yeah, that's right. Cheddar cheese, baby. You can make a lot of money. You can. Yeah, and pest control. Private equity found or has recently made their way into pest control, and they're buying out a lot of companies. They see how lucrative it can be, and the recurring revenue, and so you might be a company that's making $1 to $2 million. If it's really run well, you read the E-Myth, and you run your company well, have great employees, great customers, all that. You could be looking at a 4x, of so you might make $8 million, sell off into the sunset, do whatever you want to do, but there's a lot of money in it. Um, so enjoy, man. So hopefully y'all found some value. At least you enjoyed the video or something. Stay tuned. I'm going to be making another one right away, to talk about a few other things. But as always, hey, thank you for tuning in. Keep grinding out there, man. Hey, good luck to all of you. And as always, stay confident.